Still looking at me.
And what's up, Mighty Gang? How you doing? It's your boy, the Multitasker, and welcome back to another reaction video. I'm just taking my little, my break since watching the Hell in the Cell. My personal thoughts about that live event. It was not too bad. It was awesome. So it was, say at least, it was decent, as good as it goes. My personal favorite was Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, and it was a really good match. So, sucks to be Sasha. So, if the fans are not approve of speaking out loud and consider it as a spoiler, well, you're welcome, because what a crybaby and utterly pathetic of her. So, sorry, but not that sorry. The only downside was the ending part of it. Well, tell you what, I'm not going to spoil it, but needless to say, it was utterly bullshit. And all I got to say to Seth is, wow. Wow, dude. That was not cool. Not cool. Anyways, I got a new requested video from Emmett's best friend, and he wants me to react Top 10 Dead Rising Psychopaths, which is from Smashmaster Show. Now, let's be clear about this. I don't own this video, so knowing from him, he loves Dead Rising. I mean, I think I recall I did react of the longest video I ever done in my history. And because of the fact he enjoys playing that game, it is considered without a doubt one of the best survival horror action games of Capcom, and rightfully so. Let alone that it's an HD remastered, it's still considered one of the best games. So I'm assuming that this has got to be one of the top 10s of the best Psycho bosses throughout of the whole trilogy game. The only question now is, which has made it to the which has made it to the number one. So the only way to find out is simply to react. So without further ado, let's begin.
Dead Rising is an interesting little series for me, as in I nitpick the crap out of it constantly. A lot of the faulty mechanics of the first game, being on a time limit constantly, some of the more demanding achievements, Otis, the list goes on. But when Dead Rising gets something right, it gets it right. And one of those things has got to be the series' psychopath bosses. These bosses provide a drastically different challenge from the entire rest of the game, and they can get pretty insane, so to speak. And we're gonna talk about some of my favorites today, so buckle down, kiddies! Also, I don't think I need to disclaim this, but the following video is definitely gonna contain blood, gore, some other combination of gross things, but just have a barf bag ready, man. You'll be fine. I'll be over
it.
It
is very sensitive when it comes to gore and violence, like Mortal Kombat.
So let me lay out the scenario for you. Zombies just got loose. Chaos, anarchy, blood, gore, everywhere you go. And the first thing you think of, I know, we both think the same thing, sex. We gotta have sex. It's the first thing we got. It's a fact. Chaos everywhere. It's like, I gotta sex the hell out of something. Every Dead Rising game so far has had at least one psychotic sexual predator. Dead Rising 1 had Joe Slade, and her battle sucks because it takes place in such a small-ass room, and she, as well as you accidentally, can attack the many hostages she has in there. Dead Rising 2 had Randy Tugman, who forces attractive women to marry him, and has a pink chainsaw. Because chainsaws are everyone's favorite sex toy. Which fits in so naturally. And Dead Rising 3 had Dylan Fuentes, an extremely lustful man who has a...
What the fuck?
It just fits in so naturally. So what better way to start the list off than by picking one of these three wonderful people?
One way to get a head start.
In case you couldn't tell, Joe's out. So it's down to Randy and Dylan.
Please
Randy is
hope
pretty
that
much a
this is not
drastic
gonna be considered
over-exaggeration
my
of a stereotypical virgin desperate for sex.
happen.
And in this regard is more comical compared to Dylan, who has most likely gotten away with a lot of unconsensual stuff. Even Randy's boss music is more lighthearted. Than Dylan's.
I'm not gonna go there, okay? Don't rephrase that fucking
Anyway, how is your sex life?
However, Randy's chainsaw, to me, is much more threatening a weapon than Dylan's, and this is the actual name, lust cannon. So, as much as I didn't want to resort to this being the tiebreaker,
fucking Lord. Why?
if I had to willingly let one of these two capture me, which one would I rather go with?
You're on your own, man. You're on your own.
Boy! I would pick Randy because he's only shown going after women and would most likely not do anything to me and maybe even eventually let me go. Whereas Dylan is bisexual.
What are you doing in here? You alright? Do you need some help?
And I do not want those teeth anywhere near me. So all that taken into account, Dylan beats Randy into the number 10 spot.
Lucky bastard. And that's disturbing as hell.
And Randy's not the only thing Dylan beats. We got about 9 more of these to go. I hope you realize that. The fight with zombie rights activist Brandon, yes, you heard that part right, conceptually isn't anything too crazy on its own. Brandon's weapon is merely a broken sharp shard of glass he finds on the ground, and it takes place in the most epic of arenas. A men's bathroom. But Brandon can actually beat the crap out of you pretty easily if you don't have really good items or are under level. And he uses the freaking stalls to teleport. So I have to commend him for getting his battle strategies from Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. However, the main reason Brandon is on this list, and this is going to sound so stupid, I like to pretend I'm fighting Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. A common joke amongst Dead Rising players is that Brandon looks like Shaggy. I disagree with this completely, but yet every time I fight him, I can't help but yell Shaggy lines, like zoinks and what have you.
Well, zoinks! Honestly, zoinks you in the ass!
It's a silly reason, yes, but I'm not going to change my opinions because of it.
I have the guts, and I'm taking this thing all the way.
Okay.
Somebody here needs a Scooby snack or something. Dead Rising 2 off the record was supposed to be a what-if story. The what-if in question being if Frank West uncovered the truth behind the Fortune City outbreak in Dead Rising 2 instead of Chuck Green. So basically what would change plot-wise as a result of changing protagonists. And while changes to the plot do occur without giving anything away, even though it ain't canon, a lot of the changed events are things that really shouldn't be affected by a simple change of main character. They're just plot changes for the sake of plot changes. But I do like one thing they did. They made Chuck cuckoo.
Nobody messes with my kid.
In this version of the game, Chuck's daughter Katie was killed by zombies during the initial outbreak, driving Chuck insane and making him think she's still alive, as evident by the doll on his back. You kind of feel sorry for the guy.
Wow.
As you're whacking him with a lightsaber. The battle loses some points for a couple things. He could be encountered very early for starters. I felt he would have fit better as a bit of a late game surprise. It's also pretty easy to get him stuck on a fence so you can chip away at him. And this boss is entirely optional. I felt this would have been better if Chuck played a more prominent role in the story next to Frank. And that maybe Katie would die later on during the game. Maybe even as a result of something Frank accidentally did. And then not only would Chuck go crazy, but would want personal revenge against Frank. I felt something along the lines of that would have strengthened this encounter. But that's just me. It's still a pretty solid fight by itself.
That guy was a few screws short of a workbench.
Well, zoinks!
Excuse me.
Another person you can't help but feel a little sorry for. Cliff Hudson is a Vietnam veteran, experiencing war flashbacks. He encounters Frank and thinks he's a member of the Viet Cong.
By the time I'm done beating information out of you, you are gonna be begging for death to come take you away.
All right, Cliff, buddy, listen, let me lay this out for you, all right? This
You are nothing but a filthy communist.
is not beating, all right? I mean, look, I know you're hallucinating being a soldier right now and everything, but you also gotta hallucinate the proper torture etiquette, all right? Don't go cherry-picking your hallucinations here, boy. The fight with Cliff immediately kind of puts you on edge, what with the decapitated corpses hanging overhead and the massive puddles of blood in the store. And Cliff likes to teleport through vents throughout the store and hide on the tops of shelves, pretty much stalking Frank. So a lot of the fight is trying to find Cliff before Cliff finds Frank first. After Frank defeats Cliff, Cliff regains his sanity as he slowly dies. He apologizes for his actions and gives Frank the key to where he has hostages tied up, explaining he went crazy hearing the screams of his granddaughter as the zombies killed her. After dying, Frank closes Cliff's eyes out of respect. Even though they were already closed, but hey, it's not that count. Oh, also points for Cliff being voiced by Stephen Bloom.
You can't tell me. Can
He's
you,
also
fella?
the voice of Sub-Zero.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to meet him.
I know
at
why.
Galaxy Con.
It's because you're Viet Cong.
Ooh, the things I would
His
do
voice
for
is
that
such
voice.
A legendary.
Okay, not those things.
Number 6.
So we felt pretty bad for our last couple bosses, haven't we? So let's make fun of a gross one. Darlene, not even gonna try this one, is a clinically obese glutton completely obsessed with food. Not quite sure she's at Homer Simpson levels yet, but we're getting there. And she is very persistent. Even confined to a mobility scooter, she is not willing to let any of her food go. Even stabbing someone in cold blood with a spork. And people say sporks are useless.
Spork!
Sporks are amazing. Everybody should have a spork. I should have a spork. I'm gonna make a spork right now. Check it out.
Seriously, what the fuck are you doing?
Why isn't this working? Darlene's scooter is the fastest scooter known to man, developed by scientists at NASA and can travel at light speeds. Or at least that's the story I'm going to make up now, because how the hell can she do that?
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
He also attacks by throwing silverware and vomiting. Yes, vomit causes damage to Nick. That's because it's nuclear vomit developed by scientists at NASA. Ironically, Nick can also damage Darlene by force-feeding her. No thanks. I don't want to stick my hands anywhere near this disaster area. Thank you. When Nick defeats Darlene, her scooter flips on the nuke puke, and she begins throwing up uncontrollably, and dies by drowning in her own throw-up as she's producing it. Yeah, Nick, I don't think the health inspector's giving this place a good review either.
From what I understand, that the Dead Rising 3 is only exclusive to Xbox, so yeah, I'm not.
We're back from commercial already?
Fuck that.
Okay, so kind of a spoiler alert for this next boss. I mean, this is a required boss to beat in the story of Dead Rising 3, but I'm not going to talk about anything plot-wise that happens. I'm just going to talk about the fight itself. Not like, the stuff that goes on in the background. So you shouldn't have to worry about anything too big here. And besides, do you really care about Dead Rising story anyway? So plot happens, and Nick's friend Diego Martinez has a bit of a moment.
Unknown life forms approaching. The valve is revealed from inside the garbage.
Get out of here. The bomb's gonna go off.
Copy that. Life forms shall be neutralized, and any organic remnants brought back to the ship for further analysis.
Damn it. I wasted the NASA jokes on Darlene. The funny thing about this is that the game states Diego is merely spooked and not completely insane yet, but merely spooked people are this coordinated? I applaud Diego, man. What a champ. Diego attacks with a fully powered astronaut suit that this museum just has for some reason, and even throws entire exhibits at Nick. Like the moon. So I have to commend him for getting his battle strategies from Hyrule Warriors. The overly epic music is the cherry on this already tasty sundae. After Nick defeats Diego, he snaps out of it.
I'm so sorry I had to do that to you. Please, get up, bud.
Yeah, Diego, I'm sorry I had to shoot the crap out of you with my crossbow machine gun hybrid and harness the power of the gods. You okay?
Yeah, man. Just the flesh wound. I'm good.
And before leaving the museum, Diego takes off the fully armed, flight-enabled astronaut outfit. Is he a
Number 4.
Sean is a deranged priest who goes around Willamette Mall sacrificing the tainted blood of non-believers. Non-believers of what? I'm not sure. The game doesn't state any specific religion. Come on, Capcom, get specific. Start those controversies. That's all anybody wants to talk about nowadays anyway. The actual fight with Sean is a pretty easy fight, and he doesn't have any particular, whoa man, kind of attacks. But there's a lot of non-battle things working for his favor. For one, he actually has an entire cult. The True Eye Cult. These guys are everywhere Frank goes. They stand completely still most of the time and pray, I think. When Frank gets close, however, they'll make their move. They're sort of easy to take care of if there's only a few and you know what you're doing, but they can be tricky in a whole pack. They can hit you with knockout gas. When this happens, Frank is automatically taken to their hideout, stripped of clothing and weapons, and left in a box, which they forget to lock, so you know someone's getting fired. And the only way out is to defeat the cultists in the room, which for unexperienced players is kind of difficult, so for them, this is basically a prolonged game over. A lot of bosses in the series are isolated incidents. You meet them, you fight them, that's it. But Sean, as well as the cult, are introduced very early on, and the cult poses a constant threat throughout the whole game, long before you even have the option to finally go challenge Sean head-on. And I know I said the fight was easy, but damn, for a man over 60 years old, he's pretty agile. After defeating Sean, he prays to the Wii Fit trainer to give him strength.
To a fucking mannequin doll.
I beseech thee!
Only to get brutally rejected.
Focus on holding your balance.
Theodore Smith is a very easy opponent to dispatch. Like, really easy. It's his pet we gotta worry about.
Snowflake, go and eat
The freaking
your
tiger?
fresh meat.
Oh
Nice.
shit.
And slow.
When Chuck enters the Yucatan Casino for the first time, Ted knocks him out and attempts to feed him to Snowflake, saying all her meat ran out and that zombies are too rotten to eat. Chuck attempts to talk his way out of it.
Nice. And slow.
The negotiations
really messed up.
could have gone a bit better, so the fight begins. Like I said, Ted is pretty easy, even at level 1, and he'll be the first of the duo you'll most likely defeat. The real fun comes when you have to deal with Snowflake. She is a million times harder to tangle with than Ted, due to, you know,
Clearly,
being a tiger.
because
And
you're
chances
dealing
are
with
you're
a
at a very
freaking
low
hungry
level when you
tiger.
fight her for the very first time, and she can wreck you with ease. However, you actually don't have to kill
Tiger
Snowflake.
shot.
Snowflake starts the fight with half HP. You can either kill her like you would with any regular boss, or you can actually tame her. If you're able to trick Snowflake into eating enough pieces of steak, she'll reach max HP and will then become a recruitable survivor. And having Snowflake with you, damn man, she wastes those Zambas. But unfortunately, you can't have your tiger bodyguard for too long because eventually you'll have to take her back to the safe house. While there, and I'm being serious, Chuck can give Snowflake as a gift to Katie, his 5-year-old daughter, giving the same tiger that almost mauled us 5 minutes ago. And he wonders why this happens.
That's a
Chef
scary
Antoine,
fucking
the
thought.
self-proclaimed king of cuisine, is the owner of a small restaurant and cookware store, and a man of little notoriety. He was supposed to be interviewed by someone from a famous food magazine, but some stuff kind of happened, and his chances at fame are crushed. But he remains under the illusion that the guy is still on the way, and actually mistakes Chuck for said reviewer, something Chuck clearly gets all the time. Antoine intends to serve a hostage he has as his dish, but Chuck lets on that he's not the reviewer. An ill-advised tactic, but I digress. His arsenal consists of standard kitchenware, including knives, dishes, and the worst of all, Vitamin C.
What? Proper joke here.
He also runs around like he really has to go to the bathroom. And he has a lot of pretty humorous lines.
What's the matter? Overeasing? Oh, I do like to play with my food.
I'm gonna kick it up a little bit.
He's pretty tough to fight if you're not careful. After Chuck defeats him, Antoine has what is probably one of the most clumsiest deaths in the series.
Instant karma, bitch.
Chef Antoine has just been served. Chef Antoine just got cooked. Chef Antoine is
Okay, you can stop.
Really bad at his job. Yeah, players of the series probably knew this guy was coming a mile away. The general consensus seems to be that this is the psychopath everyone remembers most. Even Capcom knew Adam was pretty popular, and specifically because of that, they added Adam's brother as a boss in Dead Rising 2 off the record. He was pretty cool, but he does not hold a candle to Adam. Adam McIntyre is a pretty intimidating individual by himself. For starters, he is juggling 2 chainsaws! 2 active chainsaws! He likes to do a lot of barrel rolling to close the distance between him and Frank, at which point he can immediately do a chainsaw swipe. He also throws knives which, depending on how close Frank is, can be very tricky to dodge. The worst part, though, is that Adam is capable, and usually will, deflect any projectile shots with his chainsaws. Oh, also Adam moonjumps and breathes fire, you know, regular clown stuff. Another point of interest is Adam's boss theme. The voice starts chiming in at one point, and to this day, I don't think anyone's figured out for sure what the heck it's saying. With a fork? Whip that pork? Would you go home already?
Oh, yeah.
And something about a game show in there. Oh boy, what do I win? This game show sucks. Yeah, his theme makes no sense. But whatever, Adam's still scary. For bonus points, try fighting Adam at night when all the lights in the mall go out. You'll be fine. After Frank defeats Adam... Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Now, I figured I could throw a bit of a curveball for this video's question.
Here, let me help you with that. So, there you have it. That was the top 10 of the Dead Rising Psychopath bosses. My favorite of all, and if I remember correctly, when I watched most of his clips, there's one disturbing psychopath I did recall. I forget his name, but he works at a retail store inside the mall. My complaint about this, that he yells too loud. I mean, here's the thing, when you're dealing with the zombie apocalypse, the most thing of all is you wanted to keep your fucking mouth shut. Because zombies can not only just see the light, but they can also hear loud noises. That's probably one of my favorite bosses that I've seen from Doc Hans's clips when he was playing the game. So that's just me just throwing it out. Or maybe that should have been on that list. So, but anyways, there you have it. So not bad for a top list. So if you have any requested videos that you want me to react, I'll be more than happy to do so, just for the sake of the entertainment. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to click and subscribe where you get notifications for a reaction, gaming, music, and streaming. And with that, Mighty signing out. But I will catch y'all in the next video. So, peace out, everyone. And let me get back on watching Says Menos, because that shit is interesting to watch. Because you're talking to someone who loves kung fu movies. So, I gotta go.